Hello, I hope you're well. This is a video about relaxing. Clue again is in the title, or rather it's about my inability to relax. It's something I've been thinking about a lot recently and probably been thinking about it so much that I've been unable to relax. There'll probably be even worse attempts at jokes later on in this video. It's unscripted, as you've probably already gathered. I will look off screen to some notes to try and keep me on some semblance of a track, and let's see where the video goes. Hopefully some of what I'm going to say is going to be relatable, and yeah, if you've got any advice on how to relax, please let me know. Comments underneath the video or email me at autistic.alien@gmail.com, and much appreciated, although no obligation. So first note is productivity. Now, I feel this endless urge to be productive. I mean, making YouTube videos is part of that urge. I want to, I don't know, maybe it's an ego thing. Maybe it's for I must have a legacy. I'm getting old, and I mean, I'm not that old, but I do think perhaps more than I used to. Well, definitely more than I used to. Oh, I've got to sort of leave a mark in the world. You know, my daughter mentioned this the other day about wanting to be remembered for achievements, and that was completely unprompted. She just mentioned it at the dinner table last night, and I completely am on side with that. You know, wanting to be judged based on what you've done. Someone a lot more famous than me, who's achieved a lot more than me, said that a lot better. Being judged for what we've done, judged for the content of our character. So yeah, I feel like it's a legacy thing, it's an age thing, but it's also a way of staving off depression. You know, I find that I sort of lapse into a sour mood a lot more than I would like, and productivity, being productive, doing things all of the time, is a way of distracting me from pondering, from wondering why I'm so sad. And productivity is obviously not a way, well, it's not a traditional way of relaxing. And actually, I've just remembered that some people, I think plenty of autistic people perhaps, are productive or feel the need to be productive to hyper-focus on a special interest, for example, making autism YouTube videos, as a way of relaxing. The relaxing isn't necessarily lying on a sun lounger by a swimming pool in a hot country. It can be manically editing a video. It can be something that from the outside looking in, it could be something that is very labor intensive. So relaxation, it doesn't look the same for everyone. But what I'm really trying to say, rather than an activity, like relaxation as manifested by an activity, rather than talking about that, I'm talking about the state of mind whereby I'm just at peace. You know, I'm not anxious. I'm not worried. So yeah, and I'm really struggling with that right now. And so productivity is a way of trying to distract myself from that self-knowledge that I'm really struggling right now. Purpose is very much related to what I've just been droning on about. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with my life, and that might sound a bit odd coming from someone who's 43 years old. Yeah, I feel like I have to prove my worth, and again, like I just said, that relates to productivity. Like, why am I here? What is my role? I think that stems from my autistic need for logic, understanding what's coming next, and where, you know, how all the pieces fit, and you know, I just like things to make sense, and purpose is fundamental to that. Why did things happen? You know, I'm always daydreaming about why such and such happens, but why did I happen? Why am I here? What is my purpose? Now, obvious answers include, you know, being a father to my kids. Absolutely, I cling on to that. I love them so much. I can't put it into words. I'm here for them. I have to stay here for them. But they are in their teens now. They are going to be presumably flying the nest sooner rather than later, and I'll have less of a role to play in their lives. And also career-wise, I'm still figuring out what to do in my 40s, and so there's, you know, fatherhood is changing for me. Work, I'm still figuring that out. And then beyond that, beyond being a dad, being a worker, what am I here for? I don't know, because politically I feel restricted. I feel that I'm not being heard because, you know, I don't have the power, the influence that I would like to have. And yes, I'm talking in particular with regards to Gaza. It corrodes my soul to know what's going on over there and to be utterly powerless to do anything about it. And while I can say to myself, your purpose is in rallying against this injustice, you know, my autistic brain saying, yeah, but what difference are you making? You're a solution-driven person, but you're not providing a solution. You're just getting angry about something that you have no control over. And so while you could say campaigning is a purpose, it is, but I want an end result. I'm autistic. I want to fix things, and I can't fix this genocide, and it corrodes my soul, and it makes me very, very unhappy. It makes it very difficult for me to relax. So panic is the third P I think this might have something to do with the fact that my dad had a heart attack last week, and he seems really chill about it. Like, yeah, I had a 1 in 10 chance of surviving this awful episode in a gym. He happened to be very near a hospital and was saved. And obviously, I'm extremely pleased about that. I think there's a history of heart problems in the family, and my anxiety has increased even more than it usually is, in the knowledge that my dad has recently had a heart attack. He's not that much older than me. He did have me quite young, or made me quite young. So yeah, my chest pains have become aggravated, which is quite ironic really, given that, what happened to my dad. But also panic is related to what I mentioned earlier about age, like time. Panic is a word related to, urgency. Things need to be done. But because I spend so much of my life doing things that I don't necessarily want to do, I don't have a great deal of time to do the things that I do want to do. And so that there is some sort of forced urgency. There's less time than I would like to do what I want to do with what life I have left. And you might say, chill out. You are here to work Monday to Friday to devote the best hours of your life to capitalism. And clearly I am disagreeing with that. And yet I'm part of that system in order to put food on the table. I can't yet figure out how to be entirely self-sufficient. I'm clueless about this YouTube thing. I wonder how I'm extremely jealous of how people are able to be completely self-sufficient through YouTube. Please tell me your secrets. Obviously, then they wouldn't be secrets. Please let me know how to just make YouTube videos in this bedroom and control my environment more and not have to face the world as much as I currently do, because I just cannot stand the panic, not being able to achieve what I want to achieve, not having the level of control that I would like over my own destiny. There's a whole lot of other things I could probably talk about, but time's pressing on. So I'm going to move on to the next P. And the next P is politics, which I've already alluded to, so perhaps this one is redundant, but this is a pitfall of doing unscripted videos. Don't quite know what I'm going to say. But yeah, my faith in humanity has nosedived over the last 2 years since the genocide began. I walk amongst people who are completely indifferent to the mass slaughter of innocent people who, yes, are thousands of miles away, but they're people. I don't get it. I don't understand how people can just sort of put the blinkers on and forget about it, that their own government is actively supporting genocide. We talk about the Second World War, like, oh, the Holocaust, never again. And it's happening. It's happening now. It's like 1943 or 1944, people going, oh, are people being killed in mainland Europe in huge numbers? Oh, well, it's happening in Palestine. I think I've got better at, well, I'm not on Twitter. That helps. I'm not on Twitter, so I dip into it very rarely, but I used to be on it all the time. That's not good for anyone's mental health. But the genocide's still happening, whether I'm on Twitter or not. I just really, really struggle to function in the knowledge that a genocide is happening, supported by my government. I'm expected to go to work, and I've mentioned work about, the restriction on my freedom to do what I want as a late diagnosed autistic person with lots of ideas and a reducing level of energy, and yet I have to devote a huge chunk of my week to do something that I don't necessarily want to do. So I've got all of that, and trying to do that with the knowledge that genocide is happening and I'm powerless to change it. And as an autistic person who's solution focused, which is horrible marketing speak, sorry about that. As an autistic person with that mindset, I'm just really, really struggling right now. I'm struggling to get my words out. So politics is the perennial cloud hanging over all of us, I guess, but we're going backwards. And I have probably said that in at least one video before. I'm saying it again. And the political situation in Palestine in particular, lots more P's there, is having a very detrimental effect on my health, and it's making it very difficult for me to relax. And you could say, oh, woe is you, you can't relax in the 6th richest country in the world. I get that, but I'm a human being and I want them to get on with their lives. Obviously, that's why I'm so upset by what's happening. And I want to get on with my life and just make silly YouTube videos without worrying all the time. But I do worry because I care and I want to fix things. And that worry is making it very, very difficult for me to relax. So here's an Albert Camus quote that I'd like to share. Man stands face to face with the irrational. He feels within him his longing for happiness and for reason. The absurd is born of this confrontation between the human need and the unreasonable silence of the world. So I need rationality. As an autistic person, I need things to make sense, which relates to my final P. I need peace, but not the unreasonable silence of the world. There's peace in quiet, there's being relaxed enjoying the day, having no worries or very few worries, just living in the moment. And there's the unreasonable silence of the world piece, where you close your eyes, shut your ears, and pretend that nothing bad's happening. And there's another quote about, the only thing necessary for evil to prevail is for good men, good people to do nothing. And that's what it feels like right now. People are just choosing to do nothing for their own peace. People are able to relax, switch off, and float downstream. People are able to avoid things that aren't immediately affecting them and preserve their own peace. And I can't do that. I want peace everywhere so that I can have peace in my own life, my own immediate environment. So peace does not equal the unreasonable silence of the world. Peace is everyone getting on. Peace is me being able to relax. And there are so many things going on right now that I've just spoken about, whinged about, as all my videos are whinges and moans. There are so many things going on that are making it very, very difficult for me to relax right now. I'm not expecting you to come up with solutions or say nice things. I'm just being honest with you. Like Paul at Adult Autism says, it's important to explore the dark side of autism. This is me exploring the dark side or dark sides of my own autistic experience. It might not be useful at all for me to be so upfront about how I'm struggling right now, or it might be useful. Take it or leave it. I just wanted to use this as an opportunity to offload. It's helpful to me at any rate. Whether it's helpful to you remains to be seen. But as always, thank you very much for listening, and take care. Relax! Don't do it!